welcome to a super late Q&A to celebrate reaching 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So what I've decided to do is kind of break up the questions. I've sorted them into kind of categories. There's writing and reading, my work related stuff, and then just like general life stuff and like YouTube stuff. So if there's a category that you don't really want to hear about, you don't need to watch it. You can skip that and just watch the ones that you want to know about. Okay, so let's just get right into it. The first category is going to be all the writing and reading related questions. Okay, so I had a couple people ask about Ben and how Ben is coming along, how my writing is going, so I'm just going to start with that question. So first of all, for anyone who doesn't know what or who Ben is, like what I'm talking about, Ben is the temporary title that I have for my first ever novel that I'm currently working on. I'm working on the second draft. It's a new adult contemporary. Ben is coming along slowly but surely. I took 2.5-3 months off of writing just while I was finishing work. Like it became too much for me to do both. I just decided to focus on finishing out my contract and then getting back to Ben once I finished work. So I'm currently on chapter 3. I'm on scene 2. It's taken me a little bit to get through it because the zero draft version of it was a little bit, like, it was fine. I got the gist of it, but it wasn't good enough for me to work off of, and I've changed a few things, so it's kind of like I'm zero drafting it again. And in general, I'm just a slow writer, but we are getting there. I'm about almost 17,000 words into the draft itself. What else is there to update? Not much. I mean, I'm always thinking about it. Even though I haven't been writing regularly, I'm definitely thinking about it very often, and I'm really excited to get to the point where I can share it with you guys. So, okay, next. I also had 2 questions that were kind of similar, just sort of asking what genre I see myself writing in the future, or what genre I want to write next after I'm finished with Ben. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in any vlogs, but I do have a mostly outlined idea for a like paranormal. It's either going to be a duology or a trilogy. Right now, like what I have outlined is a trilogy, but it might, I don't know, we'll see. It might be a duology, or it might even end up being a standalone. Definitely paranormal, and I really want to try writing in the horror genre. Like, horror is my favorite to read, and it's my favorite genre to watch. So I would love to be able to do something in that genre. I mean, just because I love watching it and reading it doesn't mean that I'd be any good at writing it. And I think too, ultimately, I'd love to be able to write just really good literary fiction. That would be great. Any tips on how to fit writing around a full-time job / work in general? I feel like I'm the last person to have any good tips on this. I don't have any good tips because I don't do it. I'm not good at it. When I'm working, I typically work upwards of like 75-80 hours a week, depending on the show and, you know, the week, but it's a lot of hours working. And more often than not, what ends up happening is everything, like literally everything in my life takes a backseat. And I just focus on trying to get through work, my relationships, eating, drinking, getting enough sleep. All that stuff is like, if I can do it, I'll do it, but it's just like, work is very overwhelming. But if I had to give any tips at all, this isn't really like a productivity tip, but like, just be kind to yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Don't be hard on yourself if, you know, it's been a week and you haven't made the time to write. You need to be really kind and really check in with yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself. It's not worth it to like stress yourself into trying to write, or if you don't write, like feeling bad, feeling guilty about it. Don't do that. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. Don't do that. I mean, obviously it depends on how many hours you work and, you know, the type of work and how tired you are physically, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. You need to take that into consideration. But one tip that I do have that I did implement for a while, like I did this for a little bit, like especially at the beginning of when I was starting work, and it was the prep stage, and the hours weren't as long and it wasn't as like demanding. One thing that I did do is I like carved out time every day, a small amount of time. I think I was doing like 15-20 minutes, but just the act of doing that every day, even if I didn't write too much, if I didn't get too many words, it made me feel good. It made me feel like I was still doing something. I was still working toward my goal of, you know, finishing my book, of writing my book. So I know it's not much. Those aren't really tips, but I hope it helps. And then I had a couple people ask if I'm planning on doing indie publishing or traditional publishing, and my answer is yes. Like, I want to do both. I feel like traditional publishing is like what I just imagined growing up, like when I knew that I wanted to be a writer. That's just the route I imagined taking, and I definitely want to try it. Like, I want to experience the whole process of that, the querying, the like finding an agent, going on submission. I want to experience all that. I want to see what that's like, and I would love to be successful in that realm. But in the last couple years, and especially since I joined the AuthorTube community, I have fallen in love with indie publishing. Like, indie publishing is so cool, and like it is just I'm still so in awe. I just have such an admiration for indie published authors. Like, it's so cool, and I would love to experience that whole world and that whole process. Definitely 100% I want to do both. I want it all. I'm just favorite writing prompts. So I don't actually use writing prompts. However, when I read this question, the first thing that came to mind is like the only time I ever remember using a writing prompt and actually writing a short story. So when I was in school, I don't remember how old I was. I was either 11 or 12, I can't remember, but it was elementary school, and it was for like a class assignment thing. So the teacher gave us a list of prompts, and we had to pick one and then write a short story using that prompt. This is like the first original short story that I ever remember writing that I actually still kind of like. Like, it was actually kind of cute. The writing prompt was, 2 men ran near the roadside to look for ... I've been feeling really nostalgic lately, and especially I've been watching Buffy lately, and it reminded me of the Buffy fanfiction that I wrote. I've been wanting to like look through my old writing, so that might be a video coming out where I am reading my old writing, and especially my Buffy fanfiction. So if you want to see me embarrass myself, stay tuned. But yeah, I guess that kind of answers the question. That one is my favorite writing prompt. The next question, I feel bad because I don't have an answer to this, but here we go. What's your writing routine? I don't have one. I am hoping to formulate one. I need to do some research. I need to really, look within and kind of, I need to just become more aware of what works for me and what doesn't, and when I feel best when I'm writing and what makes me feel good and all that stuff. And I need to gather this information and create some sort of writing routine, and then I'll get back to you. Sorry. What book or book series got you into reading other than The Outsiders? If you know me at all, you know that The Outsiders is my favorite. It's the book that made me realize I want to be a writer and I want to tell stories like that. But if we're talking about the book that got me into reading, like definitely, I was a big reader when I was younger, and then I kind of fell off for a bit. But the book that got me back into reading in my, teen years was It by Stephen King. What's the book that impacted you the most? It by Stephen King. I'm trying to think of books that have changed me in some way. I'm really bad at like recall. I don't have good recall, but the ones that are coming to mind are Tuesdays with Mariee. And then more recently, I've read The Power of Now. The Power of Now was really good, and I really liked The Untethered Soul. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of really significant books that just aren't coming to mind right now. I hate that. I'm gonna be thinking about it later after this is already filmed and edited and posted, and been like, damn, I had so many better answers. Since Ben is a new adult, I'd love to know, what are your favorite new adult books or authors? I have a confession. I couldn't name a new adult novel or a new adult author. I don't know. I definitely don't have a favorite. I feel bad. I feel like if I'm writing contemporary new adult, I should be reading, like I haven't read a lot of contemporary or new adult. So if you have any suggestions for me, let me know what your favorites are, and then I can explore those and experience those, and maybe it'll help with my writing. What are your favorite tropes? Like, I really love anything small town. Like, either like it takes place in small town horror, woohoo! Anything that like takes place in a small town, or like someone having to go back to their small town or whatever. Like, I like that, especially if it's horror. I love small towns. I really like road trips. I like reluctant heroes, found family. I love found family, and I really also like odd friendships, and especially like intergenerational relationships, like when there's like a really old man and like like a young adult or like an adult or whatever. Like, just I love the like intergenerational friendships. Like, I there's something about it that I really like. So those are some of my favorites, but I feel like I like a lot of tropes. Give me a good trope I'll take it. It's fine. Okay, so moving on to the next category, which is work-related questions. This question is actually good because it's a good segue question. But a couple people asked me like what my favorite part of working in film and television is, what my favorite part of my job is, and also does working in film and TV influence how you write novels? So as far as my favorite thing about my job, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I love about my job. For anyone who doesn't know, I am an on-set props person, props assistant prop master. I work on set with the actors, with the crew. That's what I do. I think the main thing that I really love, and I feel like I can never really explain it, it's just this feeling that you get when you're working, especially like when you're working with a good crew. There's just this like feeling of like family. I mean, you're spending like upwards of 13 hours a day with these people, 5 days a week. So they become like, I see these people 7 months at a time more than I see my own family. So you start to really develop this bond that isn't like anything I've experienced at like a retail job or, you know, working at a grocery store. Like I haven't felt the same kind of bond. Like I haven't made the same kind of connections that I have at a regular job that I have working in film and working especially on like a longer thing. I feel like there's just something really unique about working on set, and it's just the bond. I don't know how to explain it. I hope what I've said so far makes sense, because I love the family feeling. It feels good. But other than that, I also really like that it's different every day. Every day you're filming a new scene, potentially you're in a new place. It's always kind of, you know, it doesn't get boring in the sense that like you're just doing the same mundane thing. Like a lot of the elements of my job are the same, like my responsibilities are the same, but it's just different every day. There's something new every day. And yeah, I mean, I get to meet cool people, I get to meet celebrities, I get to go to cool places around the city that I've never been. There's a lot of cool stuff definitely about my job. There's also a lot of stressful stuff about my job, but it's also a lot of fun. So as far as how it influences how I write novels, I don't know. I don't know if it does. I mean, maybe, probably, maybe. I think because I went to film school and I studied film and I, you know, specialized in screenwriting, I think the more dominant way that I storytell or think about stories is visually. And obviously with a novel, it's more, you know, it's in the mind. You're telling a story through the mind of the character and whatnot. It's different. I don't know. I feel like that's definitely a thing, and I maybe kind of struggle with that a little bit, and that's why I'm a slow writer, maybe? I don't know. That's hard for me to answer. Tell us about the time you were most starstruck. I don't know if I've ever been like super starstruck. I think just because it's my job, like it's work. There's like a weird feeling of just like, like it's just like another day at the office, even when it's a celebrity that I recognize, that I know, that I've seen and stuff. That being said, I have worked with actors who like I grew up watching or like were in movies that really shaped my childhood, that when I got to work with them, they're such pros and they're so good and they're just like mesmerizing to watch. So the first indie film that I worked on, like even before I was in the union actually, where there was an actor that I was a fan of like already. I think it was a film called Lavender, and it had Justin Long in it, and like I love Justin Long. I don't remember being starstruck. There was a time though, he like asked me a question and I like answered sarcastically, like trying to be funny, but then like I felt really bad. Like I just felt like such an idiot. There was that. Then I worked on the Comey Rule, and this is where like there were so many days where like the performances, I was just like in awe. It was just amazing to see these people work. So there was Jeff Daniels, and Jeff Daniels, I feel like Jeff Daniels to this day is the one that I'm the most grateful to have been able to like work with and like see, like witness working. I grew up with Dumb and Dumber. Like Dumb and Dumber was such an important part of my childhood, you know? Like it just, like me and my brothers quote it all the time. Like it's one of my favorite movies. Seeing him work was great. I also worked on that same show with Brendan Gleeson. He blew me away, okay? So he played Trump in the miniseries. Dude, it was just amazing to see. I got a few questions that were kind of similar, but they're basically asking any shows currently running or any shows that I would have loved to work on. So as far as currently running, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy would be cool, You with Penn Badgley. And then for any show that I would have loved to work on, Friends, Seinfeld, Will and Grace, Buffy. Oh my god, Buffy. There's this British show called Misfits that I freaking love. It's so damn good. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more shows that I would love to work on, but those are the ones that come to mind. And then the last work-related question is best set you've worked on. I think the best set that I've ever worked on is still Shadowhunters. It was my first real show. It was my first full-time contract. The crew was great. I worked with them for a couple years, and it was lovely. Still my favorite. Okay, so now the last category, which is just kind of like miscellaneous life questions, YouTube questions, stuff like that. Favorite plant? I love plants. I love most plants. But I think if I had to choose, I definitely really love climbing plants and like plants that just kind of like grow on things and around things. So I love ivy a lot, obviously. I like monstera a lot. I like succulents a lot. I like a lot of plants. And then as far as flowers go, I love sunflowers. I really like orchids a lot and roses. I like a lot of plants. I don't want to leave any out. I all of them. Do you ever have recurring dreams? I know that when I was a kid, there was definitely this one recurring dream that I had very often for like a while, but I don't think I have one in my like adult life. However, I have definitely noticed that I have a lot of like recurring elements, like recurring themes in my dreams. And, like I definitely dream about cats really often, dogs very often, and another big thing that is constantly coming up is like I'm on my period, like being on my period in my dream. But as far as like full recurring dreams, I don't have those anymore. But let me know if you do, okay? Let me know if you guys have recurring dreams or like recurring like elements, like themes in your dreams. Like let me know, because freaking cool. What has been your favorite AuthorTube memory since you started your channel? Honestly, every bit of this AuthorTube journey has been like my favorite memory, but the thing that comes to mind for sure, the thing that sticks out in my mind is the night that Angela Ann hosted her like 700 subscriber sleepover celebration thing. She invited me, and that's where I met a bunch of other AuthorTubers who are like now like I consider good friends of mine. That night was definitely one of my favorite memories, and like the stream was great, and then we stayed up, I don't know, like another couple hours just talking and like getting to know each other. So good. It was so good. Meeting Hudson, who's also one of my best friends now. Like just, I mean, these people are my best friends now. I love them, and I can't wait for the world to open up so that I can go visit them. You know, it's just, when/where are you happiest? The first thing that comes to mind is driving. Like when I'm driving, I love it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like the movement, the freedom, the wind, the speed. I don't know what it is about it that makes me so happy. But like if I'm at home and I'm just like unsettled or like whatever, or if I'm stressed out, like anything, if I'm diseased at all, I go for a drive. And I love driving through like country, like farmland, and just like blasting music, windows down, and trees, and just it makes me so happy. That's definitely one of my happy places, is driving in my car down a country road. Other than that, I mean, being in nature definitely makes me really happy. I love a cozy atmosphere, so like candles make me really happy. Twinkly lights. Like if I'm alone in a cozy place, it's dark, there's twinkly lights, there's candles lit, like I'm quite happy. And if there's like a really good documentary or like a horror movie on, I'm living my best life. And then like, you know, family and friends and laughing, like, you know, those laughs that are like so deep and like thorough that like it feels like they cleanse your body in a way, like they just cleanse your soul. Like when you have a good laugh, you're a different person after. Like you feel like it elevates you, like it just, you know, those laughs. Yeah, that was a great question. Favorite holiday memory? My memory is awful. I can't think of anything, but in general, I know that a lot of my favorite, like just when I think of holiday memories, I just think of Christmas. Like Christmas in my household was an exciting time, and I'm sure that I have a lot of favorite Christmas memories rolling around in there. I can't think of any specific ones right now, but definitely Christmas. And then like Halloween. Halloween was also a big thing for me when I was younger and like was dressing up and going out trick-or-treating. Like those are good times. I feel like that doesn't really answer the question, but yeah, Christmas memories. Favorite wine? I'm definitely a white wine girl. I want to say Pinot Grigio is my favorite, but honestly, any white wine that tastes good, I love it. If you could marry any celebrity, living or dead, who would it be? This is hard. Like, I would need to really think about this. Like, there's a lot of things I'd need to consider. You know, I would need time for this, but I'm gonna answer just from my gut. As far as, there's so many though. There's so many that I would marry. The first one that comes to mind is, for dead celebrities, Robin Williams. I just love him so much. And then as far as living celebrities, and this is purely, I mean, not purely physical, because he's also seems to be a really cool dude, but Chris Evans. Sometimes I like forget, you know, about Chris Evans. Like, I just forget. And then like I see him and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, Chris Evans. But also Penn Badgley. Okay, I'm gonna move on before this turns into a really long list. What's your favorite kind of sweet? Chocolate. 100% all day chocolate. I really, like, lately, dude, let me tell you. So Chips Ahoy, they came out with these cookies that are like caramel. They're like the chewy Chips Ahoy cookies, but they got like caramel chunks or whatever in it. I take one of those and I dip it in peanut butter. I could cry. It's so good. Like, it's just, how do you vlog your different shots or scenes? I don't really have a good answer for this. I feel like for the most part, it's pretty simple. Like, I just kind of like, okay, where am I gonna be doing something? And a lot of times I'm sitting on my couch doing stuff. So I just kind of put the camera and frame me in a way that looks good, is visually pleasing in a way, usually in the middle or like just like kind of off to the side a bit. I try to make sure that the lighting's good and that there isn't like, you know, junk and stuff in the back. I mean, I'm definitely not the best in terms of like composition and like angles and, you know, camera proximity. I mean, I have a general understanding of those things and sometimes I feel like I implement them like pretty well, but other times it's just kind of like, I don't know. I kind of just set up the camera and hope that it looks good. If there's anything like glaringly wrong, or that doesn't look good, or that shouldn't be in the shot, I'll take it out or change it or move it. But yeah. What's a good thing that happened to you today? I woke up. Honestly, lately I've been waking up every morning. So grateful that I've actually woken up. Like, because you think about it. Like, what if I just went to sleep and I had all these plans for tomorrow and then I just didn't wake up? That's terrifying to me. So every morning lately I've been just like filled with gratitude and just like, it's the first thing I do. It's like I wake up and I'm like, oh God, I'm so grateful that I've woken up today. Like I get another day, you know? I get another day and it's a gift. So a good thing that happened to me today was that I woke up. Have you always lived in Toronto? Anywhere you'd like to live? Yes, I've always lived in Toronto, born and raised here. Born and raised really in the same house until a couple years ago when I moved into my first condo. As far as where I would like to live, I kind of like where I live. Like I definitely like Ontario. If anything, I'd really love to live a little further away from the city. That's the ultimate goal. Like I'd love to get like a lakefront cottage of sorts. That would be really cool. Just kind of, you know, in the forest. Not too secluded, but like secluded enough. You know, I'd really love to be near water and among trees. That would be ideal. So I really love this last question. I don't think that I have an answer for it yet. Question is there a question you are never asked but wish you were asked more? I can't think of one, but I think that's a great question. Like, I just think that's such a good question to ask somebody. And I wish I had an answer. I wish I had a cool answer, but I don't. But I love that question. I didn't want to leave it out. But if I come up with one by the time this video goes up, I'll post it in the comments or in the description. So yeah, I think I am like sufficiently sweaty. I gotta turn on my AC. It is so hot in here. I really hope I answered all the questions. I'm pretty sure I did, but if you have any more, feel free to leave them down below and I will answer them. Or maybe I'll do another video eventually at some point. I don't know. These videos kind of are a little weird for me because I feel like no one cares, you know, like no one cares. But I guess you did care because you guys asked me questions. Anyway, I'm sure this video is incredibly long, so I'm gonna end it right now. I really hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A and thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end of this video, comment down below, stay gold because you are gold.